Hi there, it's Therese from Lostinpaper and welcome back. It's time for another in my series of same but different Christmas cards for 2020, and today is all about shaped cards. So I had lots of ideas for today's video and I did narrow it down to just 6 cards today, and I'm going to be doing lots of die cutting, which I thought was a really obvious way to create a shaped card. You've been intrusive. Yes, you are. You're being intrusive. So I'm also going to be sharing some ideas to create some shaped cards if you don't have specific dies that you can use, so hold on for that. And I'll also have some videos linked at the end from my previous videos that I've made in this same series that I've done over the years. So I look forward to seeing you there. If you haven't been here before, I would love it if you'd subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be back with some more Christmas card videos real soon. So let's get started. So what I did here is went through my stash and grabbed out a few of my dies that I thought would actually make a really good shaped card. Oh, and a couple of extras. I have lots of different ideas. So when you look at your dies, think, is this something that I could actually make into a card? Because you'd be surprised at just how easy it is to do. And sometimes you just got to think a little bit out of the box. Right, I've got the new Concord and Knight. This is their sampler paper pack. I thought I'd give it a try. So the cardstock that I'm going to be using today is from that, and it's got some of the most beautiful papers and they're a really high quality, and I love the colours. For these, there's 2 of each colour in the set. Aren't they just wonderful? I'm going to be using these in another video coming up real soon, so keep an eye out for that. And the first die that I thought I'd share with you as a shaped card, it's the Modern Fireplace layering die from Altenew, and I thought I'd use fairly traditional colours for a fireplace here, and it's not going to be a very big card. So this card would also make a fantastic gift card, and that's a good thing about a shaped card. They're quite unique and a lot of fun, and gift cards are always something that people do like to keep as well, so it's kind of a 2-for-1, so you can make your card and your gift tag at the same time. I know, right? Time saving tip from Therese. I use my dotted adhesive to glue these together because I find it very forgiving. I can lift my pieces up, and if I don't press too hard on it, I can always reposition them. For something like this edge piece here, I did come in and use a lot stronger adhesive. So this is the Be Creative tape, and it's the 1/8 of an inch. So it's a nice thin tape, but it has a really strong hold. And I just didn't want that top of the mantle to be coming off. Now I could have easily used all the different colours in this beautiful colour pack, kaleidoscope. Is it a kaleidoscope of colours? From Concord and Knight. I could have gone through and chosen out each of the separate colours and die cut some brown wood and some orange for the fire and some black for the grate, but I thought it was easier just to die cut them all out of some white cardstock and add the colour really quickly with my Copic markers, but you could do it either way. I've got a simple sentiment here from the Joyful Holiday Wishes stamp set from Reverse Confetti. White heat embossed that on this beautiful green blue paper, which I will be hoarding, and I cut it like a tag. It's one of those featured sentiment tags from Altenew, and this is how you can pretty much make any die a card. Most dies a card. What I did was cut a piece for the back of this die cut fireplace to the size that's going to fit behind it. I've scored a line. It can be any width you want. Don't make it too thin though, because it might not hold. Although I am using a very strong tape. I'm using the Be Creative tape again. You could use a liquid glue like the Matte Medium or the Tombow Mono. It will just take a little bit longer to dry, but it also has a really strong hold. And look at that. It's a card. It's like a miracle. And then I did actually come in and add a little stocking, which is from the Mantle Decor set. And I did the same thing. I actually added the colours here with some Copic markers rather than die cut, you know, 2-3 different pieces of cardstock to get it. It's kind of cheating, but not. So the next 2 cards are a similar kind of concept. So the first 3 cards that I'm making today are all, they're pre-made die cuts. Like they're actually made to make a die cut shape. And this is a really fun one from MFT, and it's an elf. And she's called it's from the Christmas Crew sort of set that they have. It's all different things in it. There's a Santa, there's a reindeer, there's a boy, and a girl elf. And this is the girl elf. So I decided to die cut all of the pieces I've used some red, some pale pink, and I did actually grab some of this Moonrock cardstock from Altenew. I thought that would make a very good neutral sort of skin colour here. I've cut a piece of 110-pound Neenah cardstock to use as my base here. I'm going to adhere all my pieces onto this. I know that there's a coordinating die for this Christmas Crew set that you can make into a gift card holder or the back or something like that. I don't have that, so I'm simply just making my own by cutting a piece of white cardstock to the same width. I did add a little bit of blending with some distress ink on the side just to add a bit of shading for the face. I'm not trying to make it look real. How can you make this look real? It's never going to look like a real elf. Or there's just a bit of shading for fun. And I did the same with her hair as well. And I'm using my blender, life-changing blender brushes. I find that they actually work really well with the distress inks on the Neenah cardstock. Oh, but I'm using on the Moonrock cardstock there, I think. I just cut all those pieces out of the same section. I did have to lift my skin piece up to add the ears beneath. I didn't want to stick them on the top. I could have stuck them on the top of her face, but I did want them to sit behind, so I kind of, because I'd used that glue tape that I was telling you about, it was easy enough just to lift it up. I added some eyes and cheeks and a mouth, and I did the same thing here. I actually coloured those with a Copic marker rather than die cut them all separately out of another piece of paper. I just die cut them all in one colour and then coloured them. And I probably should have cut this section out here off the back of the card before I adhered my hat, but you know, you live and learn. And you'll learn because you saw me do it wrong. You'll know how to do it right. I've done exactly the same thing here. I've just cut a rectangle to fit on the back and created a score line, folded it and added some adhesive and a simple sentiment, which is white heat embossed on some black cardstock. I die cut that again with the featured sentiments, and it's another reverse confetti set, and this one's from the seasonal sale. Now I do want to show you here how to change it up a little bit. So this is a real shaped die. I don't really know. There's lots more going on with this die cut, but you can still make this into a card. I know it's not a square or a rectangle, but it's simple enough to do. I've die cut the Gingerbread plushie girl. It's from Ellen Hudson. I've die cut it a few times. So once in the sort of crafty coloured cardstock, I think it's called wheat. Another time here in some pink, and I want to make her a little dress. See, you didn't know I could sew. Well, I can't, not very well, but I'm doing it here but with a pair of scissors and my die cutting machine, and I'm making her a little halter neck dress. I've also die cut it another 2 times at a 110-pound Neenah cardstock, and I'll show you how to make it into a card very shortly. But first I'm going to add all my pieces together. I have stamped a sentiment, which is from the Warmest Wishes stamp set, just onto the dress. And now I'm going to simply pop it up onto one of those pre-cut Neenah cardstocks to make it into a card. I'm simply just scoring the other piece, the same as I did on the square or the rectangle ones. Really simple to do. So I just chose You could actually do any part. I chose to make the bend of the card at her shoulders. I just thought it was going to give it a bit more stability when I go to stand her up. And because she's got the 2 feet, perfect. She's so cute. She'd make a really nice gift tag too. I'm just going to add her little facial features, and I used a couple of extra eyes here to create her cheeks. I just die cut them in pink. Okay, so on my next design I decided not to go for a shaped image, but this time use a tag and make a tag into a card. I want to take it a little step further and make it into a tag shaker card. So I have the Knockout Forest and one of the tag trio dies from Alan Hudson, and I die cut them at the same time. Next I'm going to add my acetate to the front, so that's going to keep the shaker elements within the card. And then I have to die cut it again. I actually used some fun foam. You could simply just cut some thin strips of foam, fun foam, and adhere those around the edge. I just wanted this to look like it was flush all the way around. I added some Be Creative tape because I want this to have a really strong hold, and some really old shaker crystal thingies from Martha Stewart. I doubt that you can get them now. They're long sort of strippy things, and they're nice and soft and snowy looking. I die cut it again out of some green cardstock to create the back of my shaker element, and then one more time out of white, which creates it into a card. And I did exactly the same thing there. I actually scored it and adhered just the top portion where it's going to bend as a card with some Be Creative tape. I've used the same sentiment. This is from the Joyful Holiday Wishes set, and I wanted to give that the shape of the top of the card, so I lined that up. It was really simple to do, and then I just adhered it to the front, added some ovals and a deer couple from Alan Hudson to the front as well, and I did kind of pop them up a little bit. Obviously you could make this without the shaker element. You could make it in any tag shape that you already have. You can make it with a really big tag, you can make it with small, and I love the way it shakes. And I did make a tassel for this card as well. So this would make a great gift tag slash gift card tag. Gift tag card. Next, I decided to just use a simple shape to make my shaped card. So I have a circle die. It's from Alan Hudson, and I chose one that would fit in a regular size envelope. And I've also got the OMG. This is the Mondo OMG from Alan Hudson. And I'm die cutting a few of the centers of the O because I want to decorate this circle and make it into a bauble. I did come back and die cut the larger portion of the O because I thought that would make an extra decorative element to my bauble, and partial die cut a couple of red half circles to sit at the top and the bottom of my bauble. The little tab thing comes from the Shaker Globe set, but you could use any tab that you want. You could easily make one just using a hole punch and a rectangle. It will work just as well. I did want these baubles to have one of those center star pieces in each of those circles that I created, so I simply just hand cut those to fit perfectly out of one of the circles of the O and adhered them with some glue tape. Added a simple sentiment here from Penny Black, and this is from the Christmas snippets, holiday snippets stamp set, and just says believe, and then some crystals. I thought a bauble, it needs a little bit of crystal. And I just adhered those. I like to adhere any of these sort of embellies with some liquid glue, so I'm using my matte medium to do that because I know it's not going anywhere. And I did die cut another tab for the top, just so that when you look at it from the back, it's got the white, and it also is going to be a bit more sturdy. I've done exactly the same thing here. I scored it, and I've added some Be Creative tape, and then that creates my card base. And I'm adhering that with a bit of liquid glue because it just gives me some wriggle room. I'm having trouble saying that. And here what I'm doing is cutting a little edge off the back of the card so that it will stand up. And finally I'm going to add a tassel which I made myself out of some DMC thread, and I'm going to link a video in the description below, and hopefully I remember to link it here somewhere as well to show you how I made that. No special tools required, easy peasy. And my final card today, I decided to use no dies, not one inside, and I'm going to make a tree out of my card. You could do this any size you want. I simply just got a normal side folding card and drew 2 lines and made my own triangle. How simple is that? I like to work on a second piece of cardstock on some 80-pound Neenah because the base was made out of 110, and that way if I'm adding colour and adding stamping or adding ink, whatever to it, I know it's not going to warp, and I can just adhere that to my card base. And I just simply drew some pencil lines to make sure that the triangle was going to be the same size as my card that I had. So it doesn't really matter what size you make as long as it fits in an envelope, or you can make an envelope to fit it, or you can add a tassel and tie it to a present, whatever you want to do. I thought it'd be fun to do some, they're not chevrons, blending corner thingies. It's from the Mighty Corners stencil at Altenew, and I've just grabbed some inks here that match all the colours that I've been using today, and one of the mini or the small ink blending tools from Altenew to add alternating colours down the front of my triangle. I thought it'd be cute to add this little, it's a cat from a set called Perfect Holidays. It's poppy stamps, and I did do some really simple Copic colouring and did cut that out, fussy cut it out with some scissors. I've got a sentiment here from Penny Black from the Believe stamp set, stamped it directly to the front of my panel which I've attached to the card, and added some random enamel dots. They're just out of packets, mixed packs, just whatever suited the colours that I was going to use today. And that's my final shape card today, so lots of different ideas to share with you. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, please click on the thumbs up button to let me know that you did, and if you haven't already, it'd be great if you could subscribe to the channel. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye. Toe. Okay, get down you get. Good girl.